Welcome back into another basketball preview video here today. And if you've missed any of the ones that we've done prior to this one, you can find them at my Twitter, Taylor from KWay, Taylor from KWAY. Also find it on YouTube as well. Just search for Taylor Knits. And you should be able to find it there. We've done a number of them. In fact, we're getting kind of to the back end today. We will focus on Don Bosco. We'll start with the girls. So for Don Bosco, the boys video will come shortly after this one comes out. And then tomorrow we'll take a look at Nashua Plainfield before Dunkerton rounds things out on Monday. And so if you've missed any of the videos and they're not still on the way, again, head on over to my Twitter page, Taylor from KWay, and you should be able to find them there. These have gone over very, very well, so I'm really enjoying making them as well. So let's jump into it then. Don Bosco girls. Let's take a look back at what they did last year. They finished 8-14, and I'm going to be honest with you, I thought they were a team that was going to win a couple more games. I thought they'd be right around 500 last year, so I do think that perhaps they underachieved just a bit last season. They lost to a very, very good Janesville team to end their season. 56-21 was the final score, and 21. I know you're playing Janesville is very good, but 21 points is not a great output by Don Bosco to end things last season. They weren't a big-time scoring team last year overall. They averaged just over 38 points a game, and their assist-to-turnover ratio was not particularly good either. Way more turnovers than assists. 186 assists last year, 497 turnovers. Just not real good there. 32.6 rebounds a game is not the worst that you'll see. They did rebound actually fairly well. They scored more points in the fourth quarter than any other quarter, and if you've seen the prior videos, you'll know that is an indicator that probably you were a team that was getting blown out from time to time, and the other team was playing their second team, and you were able to put up some points in that fourth quarter, and I think that is what happened with Don Bosco last year. And on the average point differential-wise, minus 6.5, that means they on average lost by 6.5 points per game. So, the 8-14, the record, I thought going into the season last year was going to be a little bit better than that, would be right around 500. And, they lose a couple of big-time players off of their squad from last year, most notably Maddie Huff, who averaged 8.1 points a game. Also averaged 7.6 rebounds a game. Was the type of player that could get you a double-double from time to time. So a big miss there with Maddie Huff no longer on the roster. And Kendra Welter, outstanding athlete, outstanding competitor. She too has moved along and leaves behind quite a large hole as far as production in this Don Bosco squad. One of the players that handled the ball quite a bit, and that's going to be definitely a big time position and role that the Dons are going to need to fill. And another senior that they will have to replace was Mandy Miller, and Mandy Miller was a player that led the team in three-pointers made, 27 threes last year, so her outside shooting will have to be made up for as well. And she averaged 7.1 points a game. So you are missing 3 of your top 4 scorers from last year off of a team, that again just won 8 games. So that means coming into this season, I think the expectations for this Don Bosco team have to be fairly low, if I'm being completely honest with you. Now, they do have Marissa McFadden back. I think she's the biggest name coming back and the biggest one to sort of remember coming into this season. She's now a senior, averaged 7.5 points a game last year. She also led the team in rebounds with 8.3 rebounds a game, which is very, very important. She's not necessarily the biggest athlete that you're going to find, but a real, a ferocious player. I mean, she played with some real tenacity and obviously pulled down 8.3 rebounds a game. That's a very, very nice number. Again, 7.5 points a game coming back. That's certainly something that she can build off of. She is also the leading assister coming back from last year, but was averaging just over 1 a game. It's possible that she's going to be a player that has the ball in her hand quite a lot We mentioned Kendra Welter earlier. That's a huge loss for them because she really did a ton of the ball handling. And so who's going to take over that role? And even Kendra was pretty consistently, was right-handed. I don't want to say only, but was very dominantly right-handed and wanted to go right a lot. And then that's a reason that I think Don Bosco turned it over so many times. It's a reason, not the only reason, but a reason is that they sometimes would get in a rut where they would only go right, whether it was Kendra with the ball or whoever. They would only go right. They were not confident enough to go left, and that's something that whoever's handling the ball is going to have to find that confidence somewhere to go to their left, to dribble with the left hand, because at this level, you've got to be able to dribble with both hands and go both right and left. And that is something that I have picked up on the last couple of years with this Don Bosco team. They just weren't particularly confident going to the left side. So we'll see how they remedy that. And then the next question is, who's going to score for this team? We told you they didn't score a whole lot last year, and the scores they did have really have moved on. McFadden is not necessarily what you would describe as a get-your-own type score. She kind of needs a little bit of help. But not that that's a bad thing. They're most scorers need some help as far as somebody handling the ball to get the ball into a space where they can then kick it to the scorer or pass it down low. If you're a post scorer, you need a little bit of help. But so again, we get back to that ball handling role. It's such a huge role, especially for this Don Bosco team, and I'm not sure exactly where it's going to come from. A couple of younger players, though, to keep an ear out for. Kennedy Purdy, she's now a junior. She averaged 4.4 points a game. I think her role, obviously, is going to take a tick up. She and McFadden are kind of the two big names coming back from last year's team as far as offense goes. And so I think teams probably will be keying on those two, on McFadden and Purdy. So, who are going to be the youngsters who step up? One name to remember is Jenna Brown. She's a sophomore, just a sophomore. Of course, was a big-time player on that volleyball team for Don Bosco this last fall. And she's got some size to her. I just, based on my memory of seeing her play volleyball, I've got her right around 6 feet, maybe a little bit taller. Perhaps I'm overestimating there a little bit, but she has some real size that a lot of teams around the area will not have. Jenna Brown, I think, can be an excellent weapon for Don Bosco. She averaged just 1.5 points per game. She averaged 2.6 rebounds a game. I think you're going to see a monumental jump in her production this year. I think she's going to score a lot. I think she's going to jump into that rebounding realm along with Marissa McFadden. And I think they've got the opportunity, Don Bosco, to control the glass a little bit. Now, there are a number of teams around the area that have good post play, but I think Don Bosco can kind of jump into that realm as well. I think those two, Brown and McFadden, can really do a good job on the glass. And Jenna Brown also can protect the rim. In 21 games, she had 32 blocks last year. So if she can be an eraser at the back end of that defense, that would be ideal as well. There are a number of other young players who saw some time last year for Don Bosco, and that experience is certainly going to help them. We'll see which of them, if any, can step up and really take on a big-time contributor's role on this Don Bosco squad. But again, I think that Don Bosco are going to find it a little bit tough this year. And that's obviously nothing against Don Bosco. I think it just happens to be a bit of a lull in the players that they have at the moment. I think they're going to find it a little bit of tough sledding this season on the girls' side. Now, that obviously, of course, does not mean that you should not get out and go watch this Don Bosco team. It does not mean that when we've got them on K-Way, you shouldn't listen in, because you absolutely should. Because I think it's interesting, even when you've got teams. I don't think Don Bosco are going to be this poor, but I think it's interesting even when you've got a team that, is looking for just 1 or 2 wins on a season. I still find that interesting. I still find the quest by those kids in not only just making themselves better in the sport and making themselves a more rounded athlete and a better person. I think them searching for that win, and if they do indeed get that win somewhere along the line, the ecstasy, the happiness that you see in that win from those players, it's phenomenal. Obviously, you'd love to win every game, but even when you're working just for one win, I find that incredibly interesting and should be rewarded as well. So, I think this team is going to win some games. I think this Don Bosco team will win some games. I don't think it's one that's looking for 1 or 2 wins, but it may not be a team that even gets as high as they did last year with the 8 wins. That's, again, just my estimation. I'm just going off of what I've seen in past and in numbers that I'm looking at here in front of me. I don't know. I'm not sure that I see 8 wins on the cards this year. And perhaps I'll be wrong. It certainly will be interesting to find out. Ranking-wise, rating-wise, again, if you have missed the previous videos, the way that I rate teams, a 1 would be a state title contender, a 2 would be a state tournament contender, a 3 is a team that's looking to be over 500 and maybe make a run in postseason play, and then a 4 is a team that's rebuilding. And this Don Bosco girls team, I've got to give them a 4. I think they're a team that is definitely rebuilding. They're going to have, again, a number of young players on the roster, and I think this is going to be a season where they maybe don't win a whole lot, but it could build towards the future seasons of Don Bosco girls basketball. So I've got them as a 4, as a rebuilding team, but I am still very, very interested to see how this rebuild may go. Now, you may not agree with me, and if you don't, that is absolutely fine. I still would love to hear your opinion, whether it's on Twitter, again, Taylor from Kway. If it's on YouTube, that's fine as well. However you want to find me, do so, and let me know if you think that I'm missing something here on this Don Bosco team. Again, I've got them as a 4. But that's going to do it for me here for the Don Bosco girls. I'll be back a little bit later with the preview of the Don Bosco boys as well. Until next time, I am Taylor Nitz. Okay, bye.